let's go on to our other big story, which is we are still tracking what's happening in Samba, where there has been an ongoing assault against terrorists who are holed up at an army camp. The latest details that we have coming in is that all 3 terrorists have been killed. These are terrorists who are dressed in army fatigues, attacked a police station and then an army camp in Jammu, killing 12 people. All 3 have been killed at the moment, and a process of sanitization is on, according to the latest details that we have coming from army sources. This has been a clash which has lasted pretty much for the entire day. The first attack on the police station happened early this morning. They managed to get out of there after killing 4 people at the police station. Then they killed a civilian and got to the army camp where they attacked, where top leaders were killed as well. And ever since then, they've been holed up in the army mess. Now it seems that is finally over. Let's go over to Sudhi Ranjan Sen, who joins us on the phone line for more on this. Sudhi, the attack in Samba finally over, all 3 terrorists killed. Can you confirm that?
Well, that's what we've been told by very senior army officials at the Ministry of Defense, that all 3 terrorists now seem to have been neutralized. That's the information that the MOD is telling us, that the sources out here are telling us. Also, they're telling us the sanitization operations are still continuing, because it's not only killing the 3 terrorists or neutralizing the 3 terrorists that is important. It's also important to verify whether there was anybody else, whether they have carried in any IEDs, whether they have planted any booby traps. All these will now happen. But what we have been told is the 3 terrorists, the 3rd terrorist has also been killed. Kajuri.
Right. When you're talking about a sanitation process, what is the sanitization process in this? What does it mean? So they just take us through the details.
Basically, now they will check in the surrounding areas whether they have, planted any bombs, whether they have left any booby traps. If so, they have to be diffused, they have to be recovered and diffused. So that is the process that happens in a situation like this. So that's exactly the process. That's the sanitization process that's going on right now. Also, they will also completely negate the possibility of any a 4th terrorist being there, negate the possibility of another person hiding somewhere. Because mind you, in the past, once the army did declare that an operation was over, and when the senior officers did go to the spot, he was shot at by a terrorist who had sneaked in, seriously injuring the general at that point of time. Kajori.
So this was, of course, something that was an ongoing sort of standoff for about 4 hours. Now that it has come to an end, can we officially say that 12 people were killed in the entire terrorist attack over the last 8 hours or so?
Well, there is still some discrepancy between the figures that we're getting from the Indian Army, from others, from the government there, and from other sources out here. Now, once they have neutralized all 3 terrorists, now the focus will be on this. We will get back to you on the exact figures that once it is reconciled as to how many people have been killed in this. That reconciliation, perhaps within half an hour to an hour, we'll get to know the exact figures.
And Sudhi, before we let you go, for those of our viewers who've just tuned in, give us a sum up of what has happened today from morning till now.
Well, very briefly, this started very early in the morning at about from JANDI. What we are being told by our sources is that these 3 terrorists commandeered a tempo, converted tempo, which is used to carry small loads, reached the police station in Kathua, where they gunned down and threw grenades inside the police station, killing 6. That has been confirmed, killing 6 people there. They killed the helper of this truck, commandeered the truck, and moved towards Samba, abandoned the truck a little ahead, a little before they reached the 16th Cavalry camp, and they entered the 16th Cavalry camp from the gate that is adjoining the officers' mess. There are 3 gates to the camp. They used the gate that is just adjoining the officers' mess, which gives us a clear indication that this is pre-planned, because the main gate that is used is heavily guarded. This had only 1 sentry. They killed the sentry, perhaps in all possibilities using a grenade, and then they entered the mess where the second in command, second in command of 16th Cavalry, Lieutenant Colonel, was killed, and they gunned down a couple of people. Initial figures, of course, had said 5. Then the army, of course, said 2. We are still waiting as to, what is the exact figure. And that is the process of reconciliation that I was talking about earlier.
Right.
So, and then ever since that, since this happened at about 6:30, 6:40 this morning, ever since that, this gun battle has been raging. Now they're saying that all 3 terrorists have been gunned down.
Thank you so much, Sudhi, for joining us with that sort of comprehensive sum up of what's been happening over the last few hours, as well as that breaking news we're bringing you that all 3 terrorists have been killed. The killing of these 3 terrorists came after heavy firing, which took place a short while ago as security forces launched that final assault against those terrorists holed up at an army camp. Earlier, NDTV's Zafar Iqbal had sent us this ground report.
As you can see, there's major firing going on here. As you can see, there's major firing going on here. People are running around. But this is the final assault that's being launched by the army. We're told that the militants have been cornered, they have been spotted and cornered, and army is trying to launch a final assault. As you can hear, these gunshots and heavy exchange of firing that's going on at the moment. The militants, who were told were 2 to 4 in numbers, are still there. They took shelter inside this army camp. There was a lull for a while, but then firing again started. It was going on intermittently, but now there's heavy exchange of firing going on, and there were lots of onlookers, people who had come around this camp. They have been asked by the security forces to move away. As you can see, people are now moving. There was heavy exchange of fire for a while. We're told that this encounter might linger for some more time because the militants have not been eliminated so far, though they have been identified and cornered. Remember, this is the second attack today. The first one was launched in Kathua in the Hiranagar police station, and then the militants came in a truck here in Samba, which is 20 kilometers from Kathua, and they then launched this attack. They entered inside this camp, army camp. If the cameraman can again show on the other side, the army camp where the militants entered, and they killed two army jawans. And
meanwhile, Pakistan has issued a statement condemning the twin terror attacks in Jammu, describing terrorism as a pernicious evil and saying that Pakistan has been its foremost victim. The statement goes on to say, "We are committed to leaving no stone unturned to eliminate the spectre of terrorist violence from our society and our region." Pakistan strongly condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Our hearts go out in sympathy to the family of all those who fell victim to the acts of terrorist violence in Jammu today. It is imperative that senseless acts of violence do not deter us from pursuing a path to a better future for our peoples.
Three terrorists hijacked a truck from Jandi village early in the morning. The terrorists crossed over the border either today or late yesterday. The terrorists shot the soldiers as they were returning after their morning physical training exercise. From Jandi, they travelled to the Hiranagar police station. After attacking the police station, the terrorists hijacked a truck. They killed the truck cleaner and forced the truck driver to take them to Samba. The terrorists then abandoned the truck a kilometre before the 16 cavalry camps. They overpowered the sentry at the camp or cut through the barbed wire to enter the camp. 5 people were killed at the army camp, including an officer. The commanding officer was injured.